Few film franchises have remained as culturally relevant as James Bond. Since Dr. No, 1962, the series has evolved to match shifting audience expectations. However, by the late 1990s and early 2000s, Bond had lost much of its edge, overshadowed by the gritty realism of the Bourne identity and the high-stakes espionage of Mission Impossible. Just when it seemed Bond might fade into irrelevance, Casino Royale, 2006, arrived, resetting the franchise with a new tone, a new Bond, and an unforgettable opening sequence that redefined 007 for the modern era. Bond's evolution, from outdated to reinvented. Sean Connery's original Bond embodied Cold War cool, a sharp-dressed, deadly spy navigating a world of espionage. As the franchise progressed, however, often leaned into excess. The Roger Moore era embraced camp and humor, while Timothy Dalton's tenure attempted to recapture a harder edge but never fully resonated with audiences. Pierce Brosnan's GoldenEye, 1995, directed by Martin Campbell, hinted at a more grounded Bond, blending espionage with blockbuster spectacle. However, later Brosnan films, Die Another Day in particular, veered into outlandish territory with invisible cars and exaggerated CGI action. Meanwhile, action cinema had changed. The Bourne Identity, 2002, introduced a grittier, more intense style, making Bond's over-the-top escapades feel outdated. To survive, Bond needed a reinvention, and Casino Royale delivered exactly that. A new Bond for a new era. Returning to direct Casino Royale, Martin Campbell once again rejuvenated the franchise. The film scrapped the traditional formula, offering a fresh take on Bond's origins and a deeper, more vulnerable character played masterfully by Daniel Craig. Gone were the excessive gadgets and outlandish villains. Instead, the focus shifted to realistic, high-stakes action, intense psychological battles, and grounded storytelling. The film's villain, Le Chiffre, Mads Mikkelsen, wasn't a cartoonish megalomaniac but a desperate financier playing a dangerous game. Bond's relationships felt real, particularly his romance with Vesper Lynd, Eva Green, which added emotional depth rarely seen in previous installments. Yet, it was the opening scene that immediately set the tone, signaling that Bond had entered a bold new era. Casino Royale's opening scene, a statement of intent. The film opens in stark black and white, a stylistic choice that immediately distinguishes it from previous Bond entries. This sequence serves as both a prelude to Bond's first official kill as a 00 agent and a declaration of the film's new direction. The scene intercuts between two moments. Bond confronting a corrupt MI6 official in a tense, slow-burning conversation. A brutal, close-quarters fight in a grimy bathroom, where Bond eliminates his first target in a raw, unpolished struggle. Unlike the choreographed elegance of past Bond fights, this sequence is messy, brutal, and realistic. Craig's Bond isn't the untouchable super spy of previous films. He's still learning, still rough around the edges, and unafraid to get his hands dirty. When he ultimately executes the MI6 traitor, it's done with cold efficiency, marking his true transformation into 007. The final moment, Bond delivering the classic, "Yes, considerably," line before the gunshot, cements the character's reinvention. This Bond isn't just different, he's dangerous, and the world of Casino Royale is one where consequences matter. The legacy of Casino Royale's opening scene. This sequence wasn't just a great introduction, it redefined the franchise. It signaled that Bond would no longer be a relic of past eras, but a fully modernized spy, capable of competing with Jason Bourne and Ethan Hunt. The film's grounded approach influenced future installments, Skyfall in particular, and set a new standard for action films. Nearly 2 decades later, Casino Royale remains a landmark entry in the Bond series, and its opening scene stands as one of the most important in franchise history. It didn't just introduce a new Bond, it saved him. ChatGPT can make mistakes.
Check.